weeks ago, I received a news article notification on my phone. My long hair makes me thousands on OnlyFans. No nudes required, the title read. It turns out that people are paying a young woman lots of money to watch her trim her hair, wash her hair fully clothed, or just to style her long, beautiful locks into a bun or a ponytail. This story made me think about a popular narrative I often see on social media, on TikTok, Facebook, and even Twitter. Black women are obsessed with long hair. For some of our audience, you might view this statement with indifference, but for a group of people on the internet, Black women wanting to have long hair is a serious problem. They seem to believe that wishing to have long hair is a negative thing for Black women, that this type of obsession or interest in long hair is solely seen within Black women's spaces and not with other races of people. Because they were already born with the ability to have long hair, they don't believe that these people may wish to see long hair as much as Black women do. The above story seems to suggest otherwise. The fact that people are willing to pay a young woman solely due to her hair makes me believe that wanting, obsessing, or admiring other women for their long hair is not something specific to one group of people, but rather something seen throughout the world. Today, we will be discussing some of the reasons why some Black women are obsessed with growing long hair from my perspective. Just for you all to know, when I say Black women in this instance, I literally mean Black women. I'm referring to all women around the world who are a darker complexion with African ancestry, not just solely Black Americans. My perspective is largely influenced by growing up in a multicultural, multi-ethnic space within the United States. This is why I believe I bring a different perspective than most to hair topics as it pertains to natural hair. Some of it might be something you can personally relate to, and some of it might be totally new topics or viewpoints that you may have never heard being expressed before. Like I stated before, I will be discussing why some Black women are obsessed with growing long hair and why these women are actually very rare. How women become invested in their own hair, 3 of the major ways that women work to achieve their dreams or goals of long hair, things or attitudes that could make growing long hair toxic, the shaming of women who grow their hair as a hobby, what long hair truly represents, and the fact that growing long hair is not an insignificant goal as society sometimes likes to make it seem. Without further ado, let's get into this video. The narrative that most Black women are obsessed with long hair or growing long hair could not be further from the truth. In fact, I would argue that it's actually extremely rare. Often, mainstream subcultures like baddie culture, for example, are often mistaken for long hair obsession, but that is a whole nother topic on its own that I will be covering in the future. Obsessed is defined as occupy or fill of the mind of someone continually, intrusively, and to a troubling extent. In the movie Obsessed, Derek Charles, played by Idris Elba, receives a big promotion, which catches the attention of a temporary worker in Derek's office by the name of Lisa. Lisa then begins to stalk Derek, jeopardizing all he holds dear. In the movie, Lisa studies everything about Derek's family, knowing details and information about the family that she's not supposed to know, and popping up in places she shouldn't be. She is truly obsessed. Serial killers become obsessed with their intended targets before they claim their victims, studying even the smallest of details, stalking, collecting information before they initiate their horrible plans. There are very few women on this earth who exhibit this form of behavior when it comes to hair. Women are obsessed with the idea of long hair, rather than being obsessed with wanting long hair or growing long hair for themselves. Hence, one of the reasons why hair extensions are so popular, but I digress. There's also an obsession with trying to prove that someone's hair is not real, which leads to compulsive behaviors like yanking or pulling a woman's hair, checking for tracks without her permission, or even verbally attacking some women. Often, women who are passionate, zealous, or enthusiastic about hair care get labeled as obsessed. This happens because certain individuals may want to shame women for something that they love to spend an extreme amount of time, energy, and money on, their own hair. Women can become passionate about growing their hair or wanting long hair from past traumatic experiences. Some examples of these experiences can be anything from a bad haircut to a parent or guardian misusing chemical hair products on your hair as a child. This also includes women who bleach their children's hair blonde at a very young age. It can also be a long-term traumatic experience like hair shaming. Young children or young women who are constantly being told that their hair was nappy or unmanageable, or that they had hard African hair, which is why their hair couldn't grow. In adults, an experience could be losing your edges, a very bad relaxer, changes in hair after pregnancy, or just watching women in your hair suffer from hair thinning and balding as they age. These are just some of the reasons, but not all, that could cause these individuals to become determined to overcome said experience or prejudice they had faced in the past. For some people, their passion for hair growth comes from normal, regular, everyday situations, like being inspired by a family member, a friend, or a person they look up to. It could even be their favorite social media personality. A financial incentive could also be a reason why women choose to grow their hair long as well. These reasons then turn an individual's desire for long hair into a passion or hobby. And yes, growing long hair counts as a hobby. There are three main ways that women of all races work to achieve their dream or goals of long hair. The first way is by seeking the help of professionals. Usually they are reaching out to well-seasoned cosmetologists, hairstylists, hair restoration specialists, hair transplant specialists, and hair scientists. A great example of this is Cardi B. Although Cardi B likes to say that onion juice is what grew her hair, it probably only plays a small role, if any, in the major growth that she has seen in her hair. Allegedly, what actually grew her hair is her protective styling and the team of individuals dedicated to providing her hair care that does not cause damage to her hair follicles or hair strands. Allegedly, thus her hair was able to prosper. But many women of lower socioeconomic class would most likely fail to replicate such a routine because it takes thousands of dollars to have and maintain such a team of hair care professionals. And I know some of you guys are probably like, oh, she talks about Cardi B a lot. But the reason why I talk about her a lot is because she talks about hair in a particular way that I feel like a lot of celebrities do not talk about. You can see some of her team members commenting, hey, would you like to see a tutorial for this? Or would you guys like to see this? That's because the application of the wig, for everyone who likes to wear wigs and weaves, even I came to discover that when I was largely into wearing wigs and weaves, is that the application of your wigs and how you plan to protect your hair underneath the wigs and your braid down, it's so important in the process to how your hair will maintain its health. When you go to take it down, you also have a process for that as well. And those things combined is what is going to give you your long hair. So that does include her treatments that she does, the onion treatments or the DIY treatments that she likes to apply or that her hairstylist applies allegedly on her behalf, depending on whatever system that she has going on. I'm not too sure about that, but I do know that when you have the A team of hair care and people who care to not just pull or snap on your hair, and they have a plan for, okay, we're gonna go into her hair care, we're gonna start with doing this, and we're gonna do this, and we're gonna do this, and we're gonna make sure the glue is some type of glue that is not gonna cause damage, because a lot of people are using counterfeit Ghost Bond glue. You have to be a hairstylist to get the legitimate brand of Ghost Bond. 99% of the women going to the beauty supply store and obtaining the Ghost Bond, that's not real Ghost Bond, allegedly. You have to have a license in order to obtain some of these things. And that's one of the main benefits of having a licensed professional be a part of your hair care. Keep in mind that it took her 6 years to reach these results, which qualifies Cardi B to be a hair care enthusiast because she has most likely spent thousands of dollars on her hair care alone. The second way a woman would use to make her long hair dreams come true is DIY. So these are the women who tend to be on hair forums, YouTube. They tend to have long hair groups across the internet, and they most likely rarely or never go to hairstylists. These type of women usually want long hair, but want to do it on their own terms. They tend to avoid most or even all professional services and like to be in full control of their hair from start to finish. They spend painstaking amounts of time to make sure that they are not even losing an inch of hair unnecessarily. They have tons of patience and are over meticulous about everything. I would know since I grew up with one. They will do anything in their power to avoid any damage or unnecessary split ends. These women tend to have extremely long hair compared to their peers who tend to have regular long hair, which is mid-back length hair, because their diligence and attention to detail has awarded them with amazing results. These women tend to give unconventional advice that mainstream hairstylists might frown upon or judge, but these types of women give really good advice because they have such strict routines and strict standards for hair care. Make sure not to make the mistake of judging their advice just because it seems a little unique or out of the box, because a lot of the time it's the quirky advice or quirky tools that will help you to reach waist-length hair, at home that is. These women study their hair for years until they find the formula that will get them their dream results. An example of such persons are April Lorenzotti of Argentina and Milanshu Patel of India. April Lorenzotti broke the record of longest hair on a teenager in 2017 after experiencing a bad haircut. Her routine consisted of washing and conditioning her hair with regular store-bought shampoo and her mom helping her to detangle her hair after every wash. She never cut her hair and took care of her hair at home, and as a result, 10 years later, her hair grew to 4 feet 84 inches. Milanshu Patel of India also had a very bad haircut that inspired her to grow her hair to great lengths. They even measured down to the thin ends that a lot of people claim are unsightly and unimportant. At the age of 6, she decided she would never cut her hair and took on her full hair care routine with the help and encouragement of her mother. When her hair was long, she would wash her hair once a week. It would take half an hour to dry and 1 hour to comb. Usually her mom would assist in this process. She went on to break the Guinness Book of World Record for the teen with the longest hair 3 times in a row. These are 2 awesome examples of young women who took their hair care into their own hands and went on to do amazing things. The third and last way women grow their hair is a blend of the 2 different hair care strategies mentioned before, a mixture of DIY and professional hair care services. As you saw from the many examples previously mentioned, growing one's hair can actually be a very positive, very rewarding experience. But there are some things that make growing hair very toxic. Anytime you sacrifice your health, finances, daily routines, mental health, or morals in order to grow your hair, it turns into a negative thing. Anytime you covet what another person has, or you operate in envy or jealousy, you ruin the hobby of growing and caring for hair. And lastly, anytime you begin to force your hair care goals, routines, and habits onto other people who didn't ask or seek out your views or advice, it turns your hair growth hobbies sour. Name calling, shaming, putting women down because you believe that you have and know the one true way to grow hair, or you don't agree with their hair care practices, is something people should never do. It leaves no room for new ideas or civil discourse. This my way or no way mentality is wrong. People should be allowed to explore, ask questions, try new things until they find what is right for them. At the same time, some women who wish to grow long hair are bullied online within Black women hair growth spaces. Stop seeking to grow long hair and just take care of your hair like how whatever popular hairstylist, cosmetologist, or famous hairstylist at the time states. These people often say, This is often the narrative pushed towards Black women who want long hair. There are also women who might be feeling bitterness induced by hair routine fatigue. These women have listened to too many voices and tried so many things only for everything to fail them. They do not know how to properly sift through information or only apply what is best for them. They will also watch one YouTuber's routine, only take bits and pieces of it instead of following the whole routine, and then turn around and blame the hair influencers for ruining their hair. But how can you blame these women when you didn't follow the full advice? Knowing when to follow a full routine and try it out, and when to listen to bits and pieces of hair advice is very important when going on a hair care journey. Some women even combine different routines from different hair influencers, which will lead most likely to disaster. But I will also say that if you're going to try out someone's routine, if they state, on wash day I do XYZ, I use XYZ creams and lotions, I do step 1, 2, 3, make sure to follow the full routine of an influencer or cosmetologist before making your conclusion. Because if you do not follow the full routine and you come to the conclusion that this hair routine is causing damage, it can really affect an influencer's brand. Thus, these women who are bitter about their experiences discourage Black women seeking to grow long hair from attempting their DIY hair growth journey. There is nothing wrong with wanting to grow long hair. There, I said it. I believe being passionate about growing long hair has become misunderstood within Black women's hair care spaces as not loving yourself or thinking that you are better than others, which is far from the truth. Another argument is you need to choose healthy hair over long hair. Once again, it's a journey. People should be allowed to make mistakes, pick themselves back up, even if it takes 10, 11 years. They will figure out what's best for them on their terms. If people come up and ask your advice, you can guide them, you can mention certain things, but ultimately it's up to the individual and their own personal journey to figure out what they need to do in order to reach their goals. And sometimes, yes, that is going to a professional, but sometimes it's not as well. I believe that somewhere along the lines, a bad label was attached to growing hair because certain individuals showcase toxic traits. But why should the vast majority of people have to put up with negative repercussions of a few individuals? I also believe that YouTube enhanced this problem as well, although not intentionally. Within the YouTube natural hair space, a lot of women began to follow a large number of influencers who did not have similar hair types to them. Now, there's nothing wrong with watching other hair type routines as entertainment or as a soft guide, but when that's the only thing you watch and you begin to believe that your hair can grow just like these women, you have stepped into another realm. Slowly but surely, women with type 3 hair became the face of natural hair. Women with tighter patterns began to take on the advice of women with 3 type hair, and then were very surprised when they didn't receive the same results. Some even turned around and blamed the type 3 influencers, but in truth, you cannot blame these influencers. YouTube only pushes what people are indulging in the most. This utterly buried women with type 4 hair, whose channels were actually really good. These trends led to lack of sponsorships, especially for darker skinned creators with kinky coily hair, which in turn led to lack of content. Some of you might be surprised, but being a YouTuber is actually costly. I know, shocking, right? But usually working with brands can help to buffer that cost, so you're not eating all the cost individually. Some of these YouTubers would ultimately disappear, and years later people would make videos proclaiming that other women with looser patterns have taken over, or where was the representation of tighter coils. But deep down, I think most of us all know what truly happened. They were there and then they were pushed out because a lot of people did not care for them when they were around, so now we have lost them. A lot of people also followed women who were short or extremely short, and thus following these women gave the perception that their hair could literally grow in an incredibly fast rate when that was not the case at all. Hair appears to grow faster because some women are short. I don't know if any of y'all remember when human hair influencers had just become popular. You would see a woman on the internet with 18 or 20 inches of hair and it appeared relatively long on them. But when you purchased it, it didn't look as long or as dramatic as the influencers. It looked completely normal on you. It might have even been a few inches shorter than your own hair or meet at your own hair. Yeah, it's the same thing with natural hair. These things are so important when talking about natural hair, and I'm surprised that people don't commonly talk about these things on the internet. It's almost as if the information might be known by some people, but it's not openly talked about. These are just some of the things that have led to negative feelings surrounding long hair and the aspiration to grow long hair. But that's not what long hair truly represents. Watching my sister grow her hair firsthand has largely given me insight to what it is. Long hair, especially those with tighter textures, represents commitment. Just like Avon Douglas, who is the current title holder of the world's largest afro. This woman has spent years growing and dedicating time and effort to her hair. Long hair represents devotion. Unless they have a trusted hairstylist, which still takes devotion on their part to get up, pay, and consistently go to their hairstylist to get the best results, women who grow their hair long from home devote a lot of time into their hair that the average person might not be willing to do. They might get tired or have bad hair days, but they never give up or cut corners. Long hair represents patience. Most of the women with long, curly, and coily hair have mastered patience because they realize one wrong move with a flat iron brush or comb can result in extreme damage and loss of inches. They refuse to sacrifice their hair for a particular hairstyle and will slowly and purposely maneuver through their hairstyles in order to get beautiful results with the least amount of damage and hair breakage. This is the type of patience that can't be bought. So the next time you notice a woman with tightly coiled long hair, be impressed not by the length, but think about how many years and dedication she went through for her hair to be that way. This is not only for naturals, but for women with locked, chemically treated hair, or even women who wear their hair straight. Don't try to downplay their hair or techniques saying things like, it's so easy to do this, or it's not complicated to do that. Instead, actively listen and see what you can glean from these women, because usually they have very vital, important information to give. Let me tell you that even women who are perceived to have easy hair care, like women who use wigs to grow their hair, put effort into their hair. If that was not the case, then every Black woman who wears a wig would have waist-length hair. Reaching your hair goals is a major achievement, even if it's not in the Guinness Book of World Records. As of late, it was reported that Nilanshi Patel cut her hair and placed it in my favorite museum, Ripley's Believe It or Not Museum. She chose to put it in a museum to inspire others when it comes to reaching their hair dreams. Nilanshi's mother cried as her daughter's hair was finally cut incredibly short. It just goes to show that no dream is too little to be unimportant. People often say to Black women, "Who cares about hair? Why do you care about your hair so much? There are other more important things in this world." And to these women I say, who are you to make others feel small or less than for the dreams or goals they may wish to pursue? Some women have simple dreams, like being able to afford shopping at Whole Foods, starting a garden, saving $1 a week for a year, or starting a family and succeeding in marriage. While others have big dreams like becoming a famous influencer, starting a makeup company, marrying someone who plays for the NFL, or becoming a millionaire. Simpler aspirations are just as important as the big one. I hope in the future that spaces that talk about Black women and hair growth and hair tips and different hair techniques, whether relaxed, locked, natural, etc., can be a place where women can choose to do whatever they want with their hair and talk about it without being mocked or judged. That's all for now. Thank you guys so much for listening. Thank you guys for tuning in, and I'll see you next time on Dynamic Touch. Thank you.